Hi, this is John Collins from Dudley in the UK. Great Blighty. You are listening to Grown Man Sessions.
What's up, you guys? Welcome back to Grown Man Sessions. I'm Timothy Rhyme, and today I'm talking with John Collins. John, how are you doing today, my friend?
Very, very well. I'm blessed and highly favoured.
We're talking today all the way in the UK, right?
Yes, I'm in the UK. Well, when I tell people where I'm from, I always like to say where I come from is just outside Birmingham. So Birmingham, because most people from outside the UK will they'll know London, or
Yeah.
like I'm just outside Birmingham. So just up the road from London, about 100 miles up the road. So small town called Dudley.
Awesome. Well, thanks for making the time. I know we just got finished talking about the time difference and how technology can make this happen. So, yeah, thank you for setting aside some time for us today. I appreciate it.
No, that's not a problem at all. That's not a problem at all. As I say, like I've been watching like some of your videos, and like they're always like kind of drag me in. So like I'm happy to be on here with you today. So we're good.
Thank you so much. So, I just out of curiosity, like, what kind of, caught your attention about Grown Man Sessions, and what kind of drove you to want to reach out to be on today?
If I'm brutally honest, I think I remember using is it Rocky Tariq? I use one of his I use his track. You know what? Yeah, even if this guy's watching him, he's gonna say to me, "Jesus, why can't you remember the name of my track?" But anyway, there's a Rocky Tariq track, and I loved it, and I was like, "Who's this guy?" So I started following him. And then, like, obviously, I always like he kind of he started following me back, started complimenting each other on I complimented him on his music, he's complimented about my training, and I used his track on one of my reels. And then, for out of curiosity, I was thinking, who else knows about this gem? And then when I actually clicked through and I saw you interviewing him with the music on there, I was like, okay, let me see. So as soon as I clicked into yours, I started seeing like some of your interviews and like some of your chats, and I was like, kind of hooked me in, because it's like those are the conversation that you're having were conversations which only me and maybe one or two other guys I know have. Out of,
Mm-hmm.
so you kind of hooked me in straight away. I was like, oh, this guy's on point.
Oh, thanks, man. Yeah, Rocky Tirade he's a really dope MC, and I love his music. And the fact that he came on the show and was open about how he saw, the whole male experience was really cool. Yeah.
Yeah, I said we've kind of like exchanged like a couple of words through Insta, but like I'm a big hip hop fan. When I heard his first track, I was like, why hasn't he got more exposure? Why
Yeah.
is he not as big as he is? It's like, you know what? It's like I don't understand. I really don't understand. So
Yeah, he's too intelligent for American mainstream hip hop.
yeah, you know what? I'm sure it was who sung that song called "Dumb It Down." Lupe Fiasco.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So I could probably, if somebody like that, Lupe Fiasco, you've got to dumb it down. But
Yeah.
like saying, no, I refuse to dumb it down. I'm going to keep on spitting what I need to be spitting and putting my lyrics out there. So whoever gets it, gets it. If you don't, you don't. That's the way it goes. But like, yeah, man. But like, yeah. But yeah, as we were saying before, yeah, it was just through him and through his music, and then obviously it's funny how things work and how we get to you now.
I love it, man. I feel like it's the universe kind of just guiding this whole journey through Grown Man Sessions because, I started off just, really talking to guys that I know personally. And I know Rocky personally, but we don't communicate like on a frequent basis. So
Yeah,
I reached out to him like, just to see if he would come on. But this is starting to like expand beyond my own universe. And this is starting to turn into something that I'm meeting perfectly uh just strangers like yourself, but like somebody that has like a kindred spirit. So I feel really blessed in that sense. Rocky Tirade is an artist and he's a rapper. You, my friend, are a bodybuilder, and I looked at some of your stuff and I'm like, geez, man, like that's amazing that you were able to like transform your body into that fashion because I work out probably not nearly as much as I could, but it's always been a challenge for me to try to get my body to where I want it and just to try to overcome that mental obstacle of like forcing myself to do it. How has been your experience going through that journey of like transforming your body into what you want it to look like?
If I'm brutally honest, the way that like that kind of like transcended, it all kind of started from me getting stabbed when I was actually 19.
Oh wow.
A really really bizarre story. So like I'll cut a long story short. Yeah, it's like, but basically, something like I got stabbed when I was 19. I used to work for my uncle. He used to sell jewelry. So like for a young black kid in my area, like I looked like I was like some trap star. Been doing what I shouldn't be doing, but like anybody who knew me, it was like genuinely I went to work and I earned my money in the right way.
Yeah.
So always all the big guys around my area, like who were doing things like they were the popular guys, always covered in jewelry. So I think I was wearing some jewelry the one. I didn't have everything on, but some guys came for me, attacked me, stabbed me in like the inside of my leg, missed the main artery,
Wow.
nearly died, and I think it was like I turned into like a bit of a recluse like for a long time. My uncle, who's now passed away, was like a big influence on me. And
Hmm.
I'm conversation is saying, well, you know what, it's like you can wear all this stuff, but you've got to understand that like there's people out there. You'd say to me, there's people out there ready to eat you up. I'm like, well, and I didn't understand. I was very like young and naive, but like I think from the area which I grew up in, which was predominantly white, I'd never seen anything like this before. So where
Hmm.
it happened to me from other guys who looked like me. So that shook me up for a long time. Started doing some train. Actually started having. I was having a conversation with my uncle in my grandma's kitchen, and I remember like doing like some dips off the work surface. Woke up next morning with sore arms. I was thinking, what's going on here? And I think it was, I just liked the feel of what was going on at the time. I was like, oh, this feels a bit weird. And I kind of worked out it's because I was doing like tricep dips and whatever. So I actually stayed at home for a long time, just doing press ups and dips and calisthenic training from home.
Hmm.
But it was never, I didn't realize that like you train so much and you're going to change your physical appearance. You live with yourself every day, so you don't generally see what changes are going on.
Hmm.
So I just carried on training until like it was like say a couple of years later, I'd start going out and I'd take my top off, or have my t-shirt, and people say, "What gym do you go to?" I'm like, "I don't go to a gym." And they say, "Well, how do you get to look like that?" I'm like, "I don't know what you're talking about." So I was like oblivious. I just knew that doing something made me feel good. I think like just training made me feel real good.
Yeah.
Uh, it was only like until like years later I kind of fathomed out what I'd been doing. So it was never a thing which I planned to do. I just done something because it felt right to me. So as time's gone by, people say to me, "Oh well, which gym do you go to?" I'm like, "Well, I've never been to a gym in my whole entire life. I didn't start going to the gym until I was 23. This happened to me when I was like 19. Didn't go to the gym until I was 23. And then it was apparent from then that like I was above most people who were at the gym. And I was a very kind of shy kid. I was like a shy kid. I just never knew where I was. I was always trying to navigate where I was in life. So I was always like looking for that place where to be. I didn't know where the hell to be. So as I got to the gym, I realised that more people were just really cool with me, and I'd never experienced this before. I was always the guy in the background who was just like quiet and just observing, always thinking about what should I say. That thing of like not being able just to be able to speak out and say what you want to say. But like I was always thinking, what should I say here? And then I'd overthink it so much to the point where I just wouldn't say anything at all. But the whole training and the gym thing, it kind of opened up a lot for me, just within people speaking to me, people showing me respect. But even that, for a couple of years, I didn't understand what was going on. So yeah, that's where it all kind of stemmed from, if I'm brutally honest. And I think it was only some years later, after my son was born, I started to push it more and then realize what was going on. So when I'm standing against some of my friends on my holiday photos, and I realize that, oh, I'm a little bit bigger than they are, and they're saying, No, John, you're not a little bit bigger than we are. You're huge. so, but sometimes people say things to you, but you don't grasp it. I think you don't grasp it yourself. I think until you grasp it yourself, you kind of understand. Okay, I get what they mean now. So yeah, that's where it kind of started from, and then we built on from there.
Wow. So you were stabbed when you were 19?
Yeah.
Wow, man. And you almost lost your life at that point?
Oh yeah, you know what? It was a real bizarre. It was a real bizarre night. I remember it like it was yesterday. Because we'd gone somewhere, which was like we'd gone somewhere. We'd gone with like another friend of ours, and the place was like at that time it was a bit moody, it was a bit shady. So there was like guys in there who were like in gangs and whatever. But I'd gone there with like a friend of mine, and he had his chain snatched from him within about say 15 minutes of being there. Then I had like some family members in there who helped get the chain back, and then when we left, but some of them guys were like, well, you know what, yeah, he's just taking our food. So I was told, oh, let's go and walk this guy back who had his chain taken. And then we looked behind, saw some guys coming. The other guys started running. I didn't run. I was thinking, I don't have anything to run for. Then there were some guys I went to college with at the time who'd set me up and said, well, if that chain's got away, that guy under there, because I had a huge coat. I kind of used to wear like a duck down, like a lot of our, you know what, it's kind of crazy because like a lot of our fashion came from American. It was always from American style, from like jewelry, big like goose jackets, Timberlands, baggy jeans, all that kind of thing. So I was covered up. So I didn't know how these guys knew what I had, but like I found out later, it was one of the guys who set me up. So it was a real kind of like it was like a real shaky time for me. Really, really. I'd never experienced anything like that before.
Well, blessings to you that you're still here. And I have a similar, I guess, experience where I almost lost my life, but was able to, make the best of it. And I feel like your story kind of rings true as well, where you were able to survive and then turn your life into something really positive. And it sounds like to me that like through your transformation of going to the gym and working on yourself. You said that you didn't have like the confidence to really speak up to say the things that were on your mind, and so you overthought things, and then you just decided not to say anything. And I can completely relate to that because I was like that a lot too. And what do you think was able to like? What do you think was the thing that helped you move past that part? Because I feel like that part can really hold people back because it's more of a confident thing at that point, in my opinion.
I've, I've tried to think about this before because like I think it wasn't instantaneous. It was like I think people changed towards me before I realized why they were changing towards me. I
Hmm.
think like in a male like dominating environment, they always like to say it's the alpha dogs who get to eat first, and it's the guys like who people fear who get to like say what they need to say. But I think people when I was changing physically, my mental state was still at that point of being the quiet kid. So it was almost like I was like a sheep in wolf's clothing at the time. So then I think trying to find where that changeover was. I think it came gradually, like later on. It wasn't something just bam like that. It just kind of came slowly. But
Hmm.
when you go to a place where you kind of like nearly lose your life, and then you realize that you're still here to tell the tale, and it's like people, because like, as I say, when I was younger, like, people were not very nice to me. They weren't very nice to me at all. And then like I got to a stage like, I don't want to do. I can't take this no more. I'm not going to take this. And I think like we've seen instances like this before where a kid has been prodded and prodded and prodded for so long, and until they get to the breaking point. But for myself, it wasn't a breaking point. It was more of a point of like, you can't talk to me like that no more. And then because I had the stature to go with it, it was almost like, okay, then we won't. I'm like, that's quite easy. And then I was like, let me try it again. And someone else would say something. I'm like, no. And they'd be like, okay. I'm like, well, and I think it was from there I started realizing that like when you kind of lay down like your own laws for your lay down your own rules for yourself and say, I won't allow that, I won't allow you to talk to me like this, and I won't allow this. They see as, oh, he's the bit of the he's like he's a big guy, he's going to do something, but like it was never in my head at that time to retaliate or be in a certain way. It was just like, I just don't want to be spoken to that way. And that's what I realized, that's where the confidence kind of came from. So I'm like, well, if I can stop this person talking to me like this, or stop that person talking to me, saying that to me, I wonder what else I can do. So then I started using it towards other people. When I see other people being spoken to bad, I say, no, don't speak to them like that. And then they're like, okay, cool. Oh, is he with you? I'm like, yeah, he's with me. And they're like, okay, cool. If he's with you, that's all right then. So, as I say, like in a male environment, you obviously as a man yourself, you kind of know where I'm coming from with these kind of things. When someone thinks that you are more than what you are, you can either use it one or two ways. You can use it in a way where you can be the bully and you can be the instigator, or you can go, I've just realised what I've just stumbled across here, so I want to use it in the best way I can, and that's what I've always kind of done. I still get people to this day who say to me, "Oh, I won't want to fight with you because you're a big guy." And in my head, I'm like, "I've got no fight in me. I don't really. I'm not really a fighting. I'm not really a fighting guy. I'm just like a guy who's just here, just being me and just enjoying life."
I like that. I had a friend that used to rap, and he had a rap that it went, you push a button long enough, something's gonna detonate. And it reminded me of what you just said about like somebody had been pushing you so long, but you didn't, you didn't use it to like, hurt people. You just kind of used that as like a turning point to just stand up for yourself and lay down your own boundaries. And we talk about that a lot on this show about setting your boundaries, because that is a form of self-care, and that is a form of like confidence. As you said, it's a confidence builder, because I had a guy on here. I don't know if you got to see the episode with Tajay, but he's a psychologist, and he talks about it a lot on his show called Healing is Gangster, that you have to lay down your boundaries, and you have to set your boundaries, and you have to be okay with that. Because if you don't, then like you said, people are just going to kind of do whatever they want. People are just going to walk over you. They're going to take advantage of you. And you have to be able to like say like, okay, this thing I'm not okay with. And just, like you said, lay down your own laws. So I think that's really awesome that you're able to do that. And I also think that it's really awesome that you use that power that you've discovered for good, because at that point, you became an X-Men, as opposed to like, fighting with Magneto. So that's how I look at things. I'm a comic guy kind of.
Yeah, man, like I really get that, and it's like you said something a minute ago, and like I kind of just chuckled to myself. So I used to have this kind of saying, and these people who say to me like, "Oh, John, why are you always so cool? Why do you?" And they look at me and they go, "You're always so relaxed. You're always so cool. Does nothing bother you?" And I'd be like, "No, not really." I said like if it bothers me, I think it's time for me to fix it, because like I don't want to hold on to it. Why hold on to something which I can't fix? But then, well, something's got to get you like, kind of riled up. And I'd say, listen, I have got 478 buttons. I said, if you want to spend your time and press all 478 buttons, entirely up to you. But once you've gone and number 478, expect me not to switch off, because there's a combination. You can't just stand there and press all those buttons and expect nothing not to happen. So when it does happen, you'll know that like, okay, I won't spend no time and press all those buttons over again. So it's the same, yeah. So same kind of analogy what you're saying before. But I always use that number as I say there's 478 buttons, and then people say, why 478? I'm like, because it's just like a really kind of out there number. Not 500 or 600. You've got to press 478, not one. Yeah. So there.
Yeah. I think that's a testament to your kind of like your confidence within yourself, to me, because yeah, it seems like you're the kind of guy that it does take a lot for you to get to that point where you're gonna lash out or be. I don't even think that you could be harmful, because just having this conversation with you, but just kind of get to that point where you get angry and upset. And I think that's just a testament to you being okay with you, because I myself and a lot of guys that I know, like, we're still working on that. like I still have my triggers and I still have my like, parts of myself that like I'm trying to like not let affect me in that way to where I get angry and get upset.
Well, listen, this is like what you're talking about now is like something. So I've got my son in there. My son's like he's like 14 years old. He's 15 this year. I'm the oldest of like of my family of like cousins, and I always like to say to the boys, I say, listen, when you have skin color like this, there is like things which there's ways where people expect you to be, because like I was born as the angry black boy, then angry black youth, and angry black man. But like, I was like, I one thing I kind of learnt myself early on is not to give people what they expect, because it throws them off tremendously. Once you can learn this trick, it's amazing, and I think I just do it. I do it so well now that like I find amusement from it. So there's been many times we've been out and someone started like to look and go, "Oh, who's this guy think he is? Who do you think you are? I'll take you." And be like, "You may be right, you may be right, but I'm going home in a minute because I've got things to do. Can I buy you a drink? Are you okay? Do you need a hug? Is everything good?" And they're like, that's not really what I was expecting. It was meant to be retaliating. So when you throw them off so much to the point where they're like, because I've done, yeah, so I've kind of mastered this thing where I can make your kind of masculinity, like kind of like a hook towards me, seem so foolish, to the point where I'm just going to give you like a real bizarre like answer back, or someone will talk about, yeah, I used to like punch people up and knock people out, and I'll say, so have you got children, or have you got how's your mom doing, or how your family, you get along with people, and how's life treating you? And they're like, no, that's not what we're talking about. I want to talk about something really harsh and manly, and like he's talking to me about the weather, my mom, my kids, my family, and then now they're like, I don't know where to go with it. But I'm being genuine, because I'm like that I can't partake in that conversation. But talk to me about like family, talk to me about friends, talk to me about what you can do for someone else. That's my thing. Come on, we'll keep this conversation going. Otherwise, it's going to be a very, very short conversation for you to talk to me about how you could string someone up and rough someone up or do things. It doesn't make no sense to me. So always giving people what they don't expect is my key thing, and I think I've got that down to a fine art now. So you can never drag me in or engage me into a conversation that I don't want to. It's usually genuinely those kind of conversations where I just don't want to entertain them. So yeah, giving people what they don't expect is even yourself, once you master that, you'll see how much fun you have from there on out.
Well, I like the example that you give, so I'm gonna replay this and just take some notes. But you said something in there too that stood out, and it was that you didn't want to engage in that type of masculinity, and I think you kind of having the presence that you have, being a bigger man, and I don't know how tall you are. How tall are you?
I'm 6 foot.
So you're a pretty big dude. So
Yeah,
like people might, assume that they need to be like a certain way, like tough around you or something like that.
yeah.
Um, I think that like you presenting a different version of masculinity, something that in my opinion is a little bit more healthy to project, I think is a really cool thing, man. And I thank you for that. Like I respect that because I think that we need more of that. I think that this bravado and this macho and like tough guy stuff, like it I feel like, it doesn't really have like a good end result, other than just making yourself feel good for a few seconds, and then, I feel better than somebody else for a few seconds, but it doesn't really go anywhere.
No, because like I think, listen, if you speak to me long enough, you'll realize I base everything more so on feeling. And as like growing up, it was never meant that way. Never meant to be that way. But like I think with the confidence, I've realized that like I've got to kind of navigate towards what fits for me. That I can't listen. I'm very analogy based, but I always like to say I will never wear a jacket which doesn't fit me. And you can't give me like a small size jacket knowing full well I'm XL. So that I would see that as a small jacket. That like kind of overly macho masculinity. It's a small jacket, and only you should only wear that like when you're like a child, if that. But even so, you have to give it away. You have to throw it away sometimes. Like yeah, that thing about being macho and whatever. It bores me. It really bores me. I like to say now, like I like to set what I think is cool, and I don't really. I want to tell you why something's cool, and I want to give you a breakdown why it's. I want to tell you what's cool and why it's cool, and then usually by the explanation which I've given you, it's like you haven't really got much space to argue with it apart from okay, yeah. I'm gonna have to either go with it or just say nothing at all. Yeah, either go with it or say nothing at all. But like, yeah, it's all a lot of it's just based on how I feel on things, and like I'll say, I don't think it's cool, and it's not productive. I only want to be around the things which are productive and like productivity and elevation. That's where we need to be. Productivity, elevation. If it's like if it's going downwards and there's nothing productive about it, I'm like, but we've got no conversation here. We really haven't.
Yeah, I'm the same way. I think that's the one of the common themes that I see about people that come on this show that were either able to overcome something or just become very successful at something, is that they're always looking to progress and always looking to take a step forward, whether it be a small step or a big step or just working towards their big step. It just seems like that's like a common theme amongst people like that. But I think to get to that point, I've also seen people that don't talk to themselves very nicely, or engage in negative behaviors, and they don't realize that they're negative behaviors, like not being productive. So what kind of advice, I know I asked you this in the form that I sent you, like if you could talk to like the young John, and you could give him some advice, like what would you tell him?
Well, you just said something which is obviously because like, there's this. I think I knew I was going to enjoy this conversation with you because like you're going to say all the things which kind of like trigger and like obviously are based on the conversation you have. So when you said a minute ago that like people aren't talking to themselves nicely or they're not treating themselves well, and they engage in like a lot of like negative chat towards themselves. So I think if I was going to give any advice to anyone or like anyone younger, I'd say start as early as you can to appreciate yourself. Start as early as you can to treat yourself with love and respect. Because the earlier you can kind of like grasp that things, that makes like life so much easier
Hmm.
on a day to day. And like, yeah, on a day to day, like I see it with women, I see it with guys that like we're always like looking for someone else to give us like that kind of oh yeah they're okay, or that kind of what's what I'm looking for, that kind of
Validation.
validation, that validation. And like I think if you can validate yourself, if you can validate yourself, and when I've mentioned this before, we've been about conversation, and I'm saying when you can validate yourself or tell yourself that you like you, because it's taken me up until like the age of like 40, and I tell people all the time, I had to get to the age of 40 before I could really say I like me. I like me. I've been, and like I go as far to say, like I tell people now, like I like me. I'm cool. Do you understand how cool I am? I don't really need you to tell me. I know I'm cool. I know I'm good, and so even if you say to me, "Oh, I don't really like you too much," I'm like, "Well, that's okay. I like me. I think I'm great." And and it sounds like you're being bigger, but when I say to someone, it's not being big-headed. I think being big-headed is saying that you like you and you love you, and that other person is less. I'm not saying that. I'm saying I like me. I want you to like you too because I think you're okay. I think you're cool too. But like I want you to find your own cool within you. So just that thing of being kind to yourself and being able to love yourself. I'm a personal trainer. I do coaching as well. One of the things I say when people come to me, like a lot of guys will come to me and say, "Oh, I don't want to get like this, I don't want to get," but I've got this horrible belly, I've got these horrible arms. Oh, I hate my chest, I hate my neck. And I always like to say to them, like, stop. And they say, "What's the matter? What's the matter?" I said, "Right, if you want me to help you, you have to stop giving yourself such a hard time first and foremost." They'll say, "Yeah, but I'm fat, I've got a belly." I'm like, no, forget about that. That's listen, you're here to try and help yourself. I don't even see that as fat. I don't see that as bad. I think if you couldn't make it to me, or if you couldn't even get up off the sofa, then we got a problem. But like, there's always like a way to solve the problem. I'm all about solutions, not about there's solutions, I might think. So when I say to them, if you had a wife or a girlfriend and you walked through the front door and you called her every bad name under the sun, told her that her dress was trash, and you said, like, "I don't like your hairstyle," then you said to her, "Oh, do you mind making dinner for me?" What do you reckon your answer is going to be? The answer is going to be like a lot of like expletives and four-letter words. And she's not going to be making no dinner. She's not probably going to be talking to you for a few days. So I said, so you imagine that like your body is your body is your partner. So if you're going to continually start talking trash to your partner all the time, don't expect it to work with you in any way, shape, or form. So that goes like mentally and physically. So if you think bad things about yourself, that's what it's going to be. If you feel badly about your body, you talk trash about your body, it will remain that way. But you need to work together. You need like to have like a relationship. You're gonna have a relationship with yourself, and understand, not being like a having full-on conversations, even though that's the sort of thing that I usually do, have full-on conversations with myself. But like, I like to, even when I do, I'm still honest with myself. Being honest with yourself and like being truthful with yourself and being kind to yourself is like, that for me is like where that's my sweet spot, and I still want to improve on that even more.
Oh man, yeah, that's a beautiful thing, man. I think one of the biggest blessings that I've gotten from starting this platform is just hearing people, other men, talk about being nice to themselves and talk about loving themselves and having a relationship with themselves, because it's not something that I was ever taught or really even shown, in my upbringing. So to hear people like yourself and other people that I respect and admire, I feel like it's going to be a very impactful ripple effect that I'm hoping that it has across many generations, because I feel like it's something that we all need to do. I do it with my son now. My son is 6, and I try to instill that in him, at his age, because of how important I feel like it is. Like you said, what you just said really resonated with me. You just said that it took you to be like 40 years old till you got to the point where you like started to like yourself. And I'm the same way. I made a lot of bad decisions throughout my life, and I really didn't like myself for a very long time. I have a lot of trauma that I'm still unpacking, and it's been a journey for me to try to get to the point where I can actually like really feel good about myself and really love myself to the point where I'm more confident about things. And so I understand what you're saying, and I really appreciate you giving us that insight. Another question that I have for you is, this show is called Grown Man Sessions, and I'm really, really looking forward to your answer because I can already like piece together how this might come out. But what would you define as a grown man? How would you define a grown man?
I think I would define a grown man who is able to see things from both sides and not just his own. Someone who's going to have like some like of like in having empathy, and being able to listen, um, um, and not even, you know what, because I think I really really hate that term, oh, man up, or you're supposed to be a grown man. What does that actually mean? It's just like, you know what, I think like when you get to like a certain age, there's certain things, not you should always know, but like when you get to a certain age and there's things that you don't know, don't be afraid to go and ask someone to say, well, I don't know this, and being vulnerable in that way. I think one thing I've learned about, like, obviously growing as a man is like being able to say, I don't know about that. Can you help me with this? Because, like, as men, sometimes we're looked at as if we should know certain things. We should always know that, but no, it's not. You only know what you know, and like I think this is probably where the lines are kind of blurred. Where some, like, a man will think, well, I don't really know the answer to that, but like most men do. So like, if I'm meant to know, and like they'll just probably just lie to themselves and say, well, yeah, I know how that goes, and it's not. So just being able to say to someone, I don't know how to do that. Can you help me? Or being able to ask for help, or just saying to someone, you know what, yeah, can I help you in this way? And or yeah, can I help you? Can you help me? And just yeah, I think I'm probably going around in circles a little bit now, but I think, but basically, it's being honest with yourself. I think more so than anything else, being honest, just being honest with yourself. Like what you said before, like I think you said you've gone through things in the past and you made bad decisions, and I've done exactly the same as well. But not to try and like mask those over, and just learn from those and say, I did that, and admitting to what you did, and even something as simple as apologizing and saying to someone, I'm sorry. I'm sorry for what I did there. Not to say, oh, you know what? Yeah, I don't really care. Whatever like choice I've made on this decision, that's just mine, and that's it. No, you've got to consider someone else's feelings and that kind of thing. So, yeah, I think that's what probably like a grown man would be to me. Someone like who's honest, and who can listen, and who can listen to both sides of the story. And that's probably as much I can probably think of right now.
Oh, that's great. Yeah, I like that answer. Somebody that can, always ask for help. And I understand like your perspective on not liking when people say, "Oh, you got to man up," or "You got to be a grown man," because I think that connotation of it is negative. And I'm hoping that we can change that connotation, and turn the idea of being a grown man into something healthy and productive. So I appreciate your contribution to that.
No, that's cool, man. And as I say, I think I've spoken about this before, like when I've done like cover like little interviews. But I think growing up the way that I grew up, and I think a lot of as men, what we go through, and like even guys of like a certain era, to be like the breadwinner of the house, to be the guy who looks after everything, to be the person like who makes sure everyone's protected and whatever. That's from a certain era, and like it still seeps into today. But that's a lot of pressure for one person, and whoever asks the guy to know, you know what, yeah, all that work you've been doing, are you okay? And it's almost like it's not seen to be the thing to ask us how we're feeling about something, because it's always just a given that we're always okay. Oh, he's a big strong man, so he knows, and like he's all cool. But like it's not always the case. It's not
Mhm.
always.
Any last words of advice that you want to give to us, man, before we go?
Um, you know what? Yeah, I was on the radio the other day, and like they said this to me, and like I was kind of stuck, what to really say. I think it still just goes down to like ultimately just, if you can, as I said before, if you can love and care for yourself, and like you have that respect for yourself, and draw like those boundaries, without it turning into a confrontational thing or anything else, you've pretty much won already. Because everything else from there is going to be just like plain sailing. Yeah, because I think there's a lot of us guys out there, and we haven't been taught to, like, as I say, like to love ourselves and like respect ourselves in those ways. But the ones that do, I think, are the ones that prosper the most, because it means it's just one less fights that we have to go through. So I think like people don't know that like guys go through fights every single day. It's not a fist fight; it's like a mental fight, and that thing of we should know, and you're a man, and you should be able to do this, and like a lot of time like, we're struggling, going, I don't know how to do that, but like I've been told that I can do it, so I'll just keep on pretending that I can, and then it just turns into resentment. But like if you can love and respect, you can love and respect yourself, and like tell yourself how cool you are, you're winning.
Unfortunately, that's looked at as like a weakness for some reason, and I don't understand that for the life of me.
No, I think like I'm at the point now where I like saying that, because like I like I'll say this kind of stuff in the gym, because I'll train at a couple of gyms, and like I say I'll train at like some commercial gyms, and I'll train like some hardcore gyms, and I'll make sure this conversation goes up in the most hardcoreest gym, and like there's some of the, because I remember like I've just turned like a pro like last year. And like, so a lot of the bigger guys, like they'll respect me and they'll say, "Oh, we know what you've gone through." Then I'll just spin it around to one of these conversations, and I'm like, I'm waiting for someone to say something, but no one's going to say nothing. They're like, "Yeah, John, you're probably right." I'm like, "Yeah, you're damn right, I'm right." So, but like, yeah, as I said before, if I think it's cool, I want to keep on pushing it. So everyone, I want to be the tastemaker.
I love it, man. I love it. Yeah, you're like the epitome of what we do here on Grown Man Sessions, man. And I feel like you're my advocate, man, and you're a kindred spirit, and you're my comrade, man. And somebody made a reference to me that we're all just trying to like find each other and just lock arms, man. So I feel
Yeah,
like I found you, and now I'm locked arms with you. And I just hope that we can continue to stay in touch, man, and just keep this message going, bro. Because I really do think that like we're doing some good work that hopefully can affect the next generations to come.
but I'm telling you now, I'm going to assert my authority and my man list. We're staying in touch. You're my boy now. We're boys now. Yeah, we're cool. We're not going that direction. We're that direction. You've got me for life now. You're stuck with me. Unfortunate for you.
You guys heard it here first, man. Yes, brotherhood has been established.
Yeah, man, bro, there's definitely been established, man. I'm not going nowhere, man. So whatever you need me for at any given time, please just always hit me. I say to you, keep up the good work. Um, and I say, like, I want to see, like, I love it from where I am now, because I wanted to keep on seeing you like elevate higher and higher and higher. Now, that's the one thing about myself, is like if I meet someone and I like them, I just want, regardless whether I like you or not, but I just always want people to win. If I
Yeah.
like, so I can see in you, listen, you're gonna win. You're gonna win. If you're not winning already, you're gonna win some more.
Oh man, thank you, brother. I appreciate that. That's love, man. And likewise, man. Like I feel the same way, man. If there's anything I could do to help on this side of the pond, man, just let me know.
Okay, I'm cool. Right, there's some Jordans I've seen on. No, we're all good, man. We're good. We're
Awesome,
good.
man. Well, I always end these interviews by saying that one person could change the world, but it's one person at a time. And right now, that one person is you, fellas. So just keep showing yourself some love, man, and stop thinking that like being like in tune with your feelings or in tune with yourself is any kind of negative thing or any kind of weakness, man. It actually makes you a lot stronger than you think. Coming from the bodybuilding pro himself, John Collins. I mean, what more proof do you need? So thank you, John. I appreciate your time, and I'll talk to you soon.
Okay, now thank you. Stay blessed, bro.
You too.
Cool. Take it easy, my G.
So this episode with John Collins was pretty cool to hear him talk about his transformation. He was a young man in the UK. Sounds like he got involved in some street life stuff, to a certain degree. Maybe he wasn't involved, but it sounded like he was around it. Almost died because he got stabbed over some jewelry, and then he turned his life around. One of the things that I really liked that he kind of mentioned briefly that he didn't really dive into at first was that um, he didn't have the confidence to be able to speak up for himself or really set his own boundaries, even though he was like working on his body and he was getting bigger and like he probably was like already seeing the changes in his physical changes in his appearance, but he was able to develop that over time. And I think that's a really important thing, is like being able to be mindful of that aspect of who you are and just being able to develop it over time. If you're not confident, and if you're not able to speak up for yourself, or if you're not able to set your own boundaries, I mean, then that's something that you can work on over time. Like, it's not going to change overnight, as he said, and it's not something that's necessarily easy to do. So you just have to be mindful of it, put in the work, and be willing to be uncomfortable, and hopefully you're able to get to a point where you do feel that you're confident after a certain amount of time, and you are able to set boundaries, and you are able to stand up for yourself. So if that's anything that helps you guys, I really hope that you're able to implement something like that in your life, and that it helps you. And so thank you for tuning in. If you got anything from this episode, please hit the like, please hit the subscribe, and drop us a comment if you want us to interview somebody else that you know that has been through some pretty intense stuff in their life and was able to turn it around and could offer some insight on what we're doing here on Grown Man Sessions. Feel free to mention them in the comments or tag them in a post on Instagram. Make sure you guys go follow us on Instagram at Grown Man Sessions, and just get involved in the conversation. We're just trying to change the way that us men talk to each other and about each other, so that the next generation doesn't have to get caught up in any of that negative masculinity. So I'm going to be signing off now. This is Timothy Rhyme. Thank you guys for listening. See you next time.